going to talk all about apathy. So this is going to be about how to heal apathy. Um, when I was getting into this, when I was planning this show, I was thinking, God, like my listeners must, you know, sometimes get a bit bogged down by always having to go into sort of dark emotion and it is just how it is. But when I first started to look at apathy, I was thinking, oh, it's kind of it's like an annoying thing that's not like a major issue. But actually, once I dug down into it, it it's quite big. It's big. And just before I sort of start, um, I've been having apathy on and off like for years, and I think probably most people have it on some level. Um, and I started to look at it because my daughter is in her GCSE year, and she also has apathy and a bit of procrastination and stuff. And I thought, well, we share some patterns here, so maybe if I dig deep into that, it might get her moving and sort of help her do what she wants to do with that. So that's the reason I started to dive into it. And it's really deep and it's really big. It's quite dark what's underneath this. So apologies in advance. But I also want to say that since I've sat with apathy, like crazy things happened. So there's a kind of very slippery layer of energy that I think everybody would benefit from looking at. So since I sat with this, and very recently, kind of just over the last couple of days, I feel completely different. So there's one situation in my life, like one particular person in the family that on and off for years we've had conflict, and it seems like it's about the same thing each time, but then when I go to heal, it just seems like it just kind of goes on forever. Like we've been looping. And since I've sat with apathy, and despair is actually the thing that's underneath apathy, I've shifted a layer of huge, and this person is now completely different in my life, like just literally overnight. This person is completely different. And I had gone into despair. I'd gone into despair over this relationship. So since I've tackled apathy and I've properly sat with the despair that's underneath it, it's actually changed my life. Like it's changed my life. I haven't yet fully sort of processed the magnitude of this. So I just wanted to say that at the beginning, because sometimes I get bogged down with how much healing there is to do, and sometimes it seems like it works, sometimes it seems like it just sets me up for more and more and more and more. But
Can I just jump
yeah,
in? I
yeah,
don't know if you're in a new location, but your audio seems to be breaking up. So I don't know if you've got a weak Wi-Fi signal or you're in a strange place that you're not normally, because normally your audio is booming, but you do seem to be fading in and out.
oh, that's interesting. Hang on, let me just move. I wonder why that's happening. All right. Okay, right. Where I am now is very close to the router. Can you hear me okay here?
Yeah, you're coming through nice and clear and solid.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. All right. So do you need me to start again or
No, we could hear you. It was just sort of falling in and falling out. So it was, but I thought I'd best jump in now,
yeah.
because I thought it might clear up if it was just like a weak signal thing and it was just going to be partial. But I thought no, it's not. It's going to keep doing it. So I thought I'd better jump in and just let you know.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. All right, thanks, Andy. Yeah, so here we are. We're going to have a look at apathy, and I thought it was going to be this kind of fairly tame energy that everybody finds kind of a little bit irritating. And yeah, so my natural energy is kind of very enthusiastic and passionate and excited when I'm in my element. So when I'm kind of doing what I love, or being in a way that I love, or being with people that I love. So I'd noticed that it kind of, with getting bogged down with everything that's happening in the world and difficulties in life, I'd noticed that my enthusiasm and my passion and my excitement had sort of gone down. So it kind of waned a bit, on and off, not completely. And others, lots of people have been saying the same thing. And I thought, well, is this just down to exhaustion, being on the path and being someone that others don't agree with? And and obviously it's hard to keep going sometimes. And I thought, I wonder if that's what it's down to. But I hadn't actually realized at the time that it was a clue for me to notice something. So I am a person that feels apathy on and off, but I've never fully sort of dropped into it. So I started to look into it because my daughter has been apathetic lately about her school stuff. And sometimes it's down to just a bit of self-doubt or indecision, and then you can shift it and then you're back on the road again. So this is really slippery energy, but it's big. And even though it's quite dark, what's underneath this, I would highly recommend sitting with this, especially at this time where there's an eclipse going on, because whatever you do in terms of energy work right now will catapult you through time and space. So yeah, apathy, it kind of seems like a lack of emotion. It's kind of hard to get hold of it because it doesn't feel like any feelings at all. It sort of feels like the absence of feelings. But it actually isn't that. So people that are apathetic actually have a lot of emotion. So it's not a lack of emotion that's happening here. It's actually the suppression of those kind of vibes, excitement, passion, enthusiasm. So think, a small child. Think about that exuberance, that kind of just madly stumbling around, just following your nose kind of energy. Like as adults, that would be our natural, disposition. Imagine us all just kind of like running around like drunks, kind of just following our nose and following our emotions. That's the way it's supposed to be. So when this suppression happens of someone's excitement, passion, enthusiasm, it generally happens when somebody's upbringing calls them to generally not be emotional at all. So, and there are many, many reasons why a parent would not allow a child to be emotional. There's a boatload. So, in the context of apathy and the suppression of the excitement, passion, and enthusiasm, there was a suppression of both polarities of emotion. So positive emotion and negative emotion were both not okay to express. So if you think about that for a minute, you can see how that would cause like an emotional straitjacket. So I've got an example a bit later of a situation where the positive emotion and the negative emotion could both be shut down at once. So you can see what I mean. And the scary thing about the example is that we probably all had that done to us. Not just once or twice, but pretty much on repeat because of who our parents are and what they've been through. And so as it's our emotions that guide us towards our boundaries and preferences, it's our emotions that lead us the right way. So like these very small children that are just exuberant and they gravitate towards the wanted kind of in this unbridled way without resistance or fear, just led by how they feel in the moment and their own agency naturally. That's our guidance system. That's how it's supposed to work. So the tricky thing about struggling with apathy is that not only did you suppress the positive and the negative emotions that you weren't allowed to feel, so basically the full spectrum of human emotion, because you were disapproved of, for having them or for whatever the situation was, you also suppressed your motivation. So we all know what it's like to say, I've got no motivation. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm in apathy. I've got no motivation. I just don't want to do it. I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. So we can actually suppress motivation. So just think about that for a minute. So it must have been so painful and difficult to stop feeling altogether to suit someone else, to stay safe. But on top of that, a person who finds apathy a problem, particularly a repeating problem, has also shut down their wanting. So having a belief system that it's not safe to want. So if you think about that, wanting and desire is how we are expanding the universe. It's how improvement comes about. It's how evolution occurs. So you can imagine the kind of momentum that you're not building up by stagnating because of all of this, like having suppressed wanting and the full spectrum of human emotion. So that feeling of no motivation comes from that experience. So then that leads to that sense of, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I'm not connected to myself. So this kind of disconnection from knowing, like a lost feeling, which is really common. Sadly, it's really common. So even though apathy, we can make the mistake of playing it down quite easily because it's kind of this unemotional, numb feeling that doesn't seem to be like a huge thing. The root of it, so what's underneath it, is actually a feeling of despair and hopelessness. So if you're brave enough to drop into that and to explore it and to just let it be there and to see it as a frequency, you don't have to identify with it. Usually you can feel pessimism in there. And it's actually not far beneath the surface of apathy, that pessimism. So here's the example. So think of a child. He or she, they're in this kind of deadlock with their parents where they feel like they can't win. They find that nothing will work. So they're not allowed to feel this, they're not allowed to feel that. Nothing will work. So they decide basically that there just isn't a way to have what they want. So the problem here is lots and lots of unmet needs, not just a few, but a lot. So there's all these unmet needs, and then there's a powerlessness to meet one's own needs. So you're not getting your needs met by people external, but you also have this powerlessness to meet your own needs. And obviously, if you've suppressed your wanting as well, and you don't have your guidance system anymore because you're not allowed to be emotional, you are completely lost and kind of dislocated. So if you feel like this is ringing bells for you, then you might also be a person who feels that you can't trust the universe, like you just don't trust life, or you can't trust yourself. It could be because you have unmet needs that you haven't fully kind of surfaced the realization that they're there. So I think currently, sort of what I'm picking up and what seems to be what's going on in the cosmos right now, this eclipse energy, the astrology, it's pushing us to own our unmet needs. And it's popping up everywhere. It's just one of those things that I can see in every conversation I have with everybody. So last week on the show, we talked about looking at our needs up close in the context of reaction in relationships, and basically deciding whether the needs that trigger when we don't get them met by somebody around us, we were deciding whether those needs are right for us or not. So we have to get them out and have a look at them. If we are in denial that we have certain needs, then we are causing a stuckness. And the universe doesn't like it. The universe doesn't like that stuckness. So if we are in that stuckness, we've made ourselves a target. It's like we've got a bullseye on us, and then the universe is going to find a way to unstick you, because the universe loves you, and it doesn't always seem like it. So we have to give ourselves permission to have them, to have the unmet needs. So even if no one around us can meet them for you, even if you can't meet them yourself, we have to own those needs. Because actually, however much healing you do, the needs don't go away. And, especially they don't go away when we pretend that they're not there. So we might have suppressed them and made them invisible to ourselves, but that doesn't mean they're not still there. So let's say, for example, there's a kid who wants to be like something creative, like an actor or a comedian, and they want to go to classes. They want to be encouraged in that direction. It lights them up. It sets their soul on fire. But these particular parents of this kid are strict and kind of dry, and they think that's a crazy idea and it's completely unacceptable. It's reckless. It's not a good way to make a living or whatever. So they just wouldn't even think about the acting classes. So they enroll him into a business class or like a marketing course or something that they say is stable. So this is so common. It's so common. It probably happened to all of us on some level, this kind of thing. No, that's not acceptable. You have to do this because we say so, Yeah, so it's quite common for a parent to act. They will say they're acting in the child's best interests, but according to what they think that is. So obviously not the same thing. So here in this situation, this kid could be shamed for being selfish if they protest. So they might say, I don't want to do that. I want to do the thing. I want to do the thing that lights me up. So they could be shamed by the parent for being ungrateful, for example. You're so ungrateful that you're not, appreciating what we're doing for you and what we say is best for you. So they're shamed and guilted for that. And that positive emotion that kid had about their passion, about their preference, basically their boundaries, have been made wrong. So that's been suppressed. And then the protest energy, the child's negative emotion, the anger, whatever comes up because they're not allowed to be themselves, then that gets suppressed. So there's the positive and the negative emotion. So his or her need for love, obviously love is when someone takes you as a part of themselves. His parents didn't just love him. They did the opposite. They didn't take him as a part of themselves. So his need for love wasn't met because they acted against him instead of for him. And his need for encouragement was there, not met. His need to be significant, to have to have free will, to have choice, to move forward in the direction that he's chosen. His need for significance has been suppressed. His need for growth, for experimentation, for movement, for expansion, and even for certainty, that he can choose and make a change and trust himself. His need for free will, validation, like all unmet. And, there's probably more and more and more that you could list there. And that is a really common scenario. We know what's best for you. That basically do as you're told. So the only way that a child like this can get any needs met is to basically abandon themselves and then just please mum and dad. So that creates a situation where you're not really existing. So this is starting to feel a bit like apathy already, that kind of no man's land, that, oh, I want to do this thing, or I thought I wanted to do this thing, but now I don't really want to do this thing. but it doesn't feel good that I don't want to do that thing. So the kind of not existing, not being able to put forth energy towards, so once all of the emotions have been suppressed, like the full spectrum of human emotion, because they weren't allowed to feel and they were just in an emotional straitjacket, it kind of gets down to despair. That's the thing that's kind of left. And then the attempt to suppress despair leaves apathy, which is basically a kind of numb pessimism. So if anybody feels like they've done this, this is temporary. I know it seems dark, but it's temporary. And it's just like I focused on this the other day. I sat in it and it was really horrible, to be honest. But a miracle happened the next day. A relationship that I had despair about completely shifted unexpectedly without me needing to do anything. It was not it was not normal. It was not normal at all. So if this is ringing bells for you, there is hope, which is the opposite, obviously, of hopelessness and despair. So there are other aspects that you might notice with this pattern if you feel like you've got it. So that sense of striving, I'm going to strive, like the kid who wanted to be a comedian. It might not have felt safe for you to strive when you were a kid or to go in certain directions. There might have been certain directions it was safe for you to go in according to them, but to go in your own direction, possibly not. So if your parents were very shaming or kind of defeatist or discouraging or just generally sort of quite negative, it's possible that this happened to you and you've suppressed it all. So it might not feel safe to try generally, and it definitely doesn't feel safe to strive. So also, if this applies to you, you've probably become an expert at distraction and you might have addiction. So this is kind of even though apathy doesn't seem like a big thing, it's basically becoming very, very passive, but almost without noticing that you've done that. Which is quite, when you think about it, when you think of how we've all sort of been hijacked by mind control and we're all trying to unwind that. And obviously this kind of energy work is part of that deprogramming. It's disturbing. It's disturbing to realize how passive you can become, and it creeps up on you. That kind of giving up, after taking all the knocks in life. But yeah, there's stuff we can do about this for sure. So it becomes a kind of not being committed to life, like just getting by, kind of like a living death. It's really unpleasant energy to sit in. It's really unpleasant, especially when you look at how it just wasn't your fault to have been repeatedly let down so much that this is the outcome of it. So yeah, I've been dealing with apathy on and off for a while, and it comes and goes. Sometimes it takes over a bit, but I don't know now. Now that I've sat in that despair and had shifts, who knows? I've got absolutely no idea. So this is all very recent for me. So if we have apathy, what do we do? So number one, we have to choose to be committed to life, but to really being alive. Not just living sort of day to day, getting by, doing the bare minimum. We have to be committed to properly live, whatever that means. And that's not just living in one area of life. That's like all round, like helping every aspect of yourself to really enjoy being on this planet. And it's not easy at the moment. It's not easy at the moment to go there. And I think number two, see that distracting ourselves from the pain is making our life meaningless and kind of not worth living. And number 3, we need to give loving care and attention to the emotional aspects of us that were suppressed. So you could find as many ways as possible to be present with yourself, I think, like presence. So present with yourself as opposed to absent and kind of going into escapism. So as the key wounding here is despair, inner child work with that aspect of you that is in despair is going to be really, really powerful. And there's so many different ways that you can do that. And sometimes I'm reluctant to kind of give detailed information about inner child work because there isn't a right and there isn't a wrong. I think just locating that child in time and space is your starting point. So think about, okay, if I've got this apathy because there's a frozen child version of me in despair and no one was attending to them, like which version of me is that? You can probably find them pretty quick. You know, which one of these versions of me felt this despair, this lack of control, this inability to act, you know. And then just go there and allow them to be the way they're being. Just allow them to be in that emotion, to have those stories in their head about what's happening, to be in that kind of desperation to be met and received. So this wound needs to be helped to heal just by being with it. Keep it really simple. Just be with it and let it be there. And you don't have to identify with it, but just set intentions to unwind that energy, to let it be there, to let it unwind just through witnessing compassionately. But yeah, I think because this is like this, I kind of, sometimes I call this kind of energy, it's like a shark. It's like a big kind of, 1 minute it's invisible, the next minute it's there, kind of like eating you alive. It's kind of like hidden, but it's big. Like once you go into that energy, it's really big and it feels really bad. But any amount of sitting in that and witnessing it and allowing your body to just tell that story, that's all you're doing. Is there's an old story in your body that's trying to be told. It's trying to be told through your current life, the reflections that you're getting. That story wants to be told. That's what your body does. It needs to tell the old story, but we don't let it because we avoid going there. I would highly recommend going to this layer of despair because anything that you try to do is unlikely to work if you've got a frequency of despair in there that you can't see, because ultimately despair is basically nothing works. If you keep this layer, then part of your transmission into the universe is saying nothing works, you know, nothing works. So that's going to apply to what you give as well as what you receive. So the temporary nature of sitting in the pain of this, it's worth remembering. It's temporary, but there's a big payoff. So number 4, anger is a really good idea. So I don't know if anyone's ever paid attention to, I can't remember what it's called. There's like a spectrum of emotion. Abraham Hicks have it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically a hierarchy of emotion. So you've got, you know, joy, love, gratitude, all of that at the top. And then at the bottom, you've got shame, you know, guilt, kind of like dark, horrible, despair. Anger is actually high on the emotional hierarchy, interestingly. People find it the most unacceptable emotion to display, but it's way higher than depression and powerlessness. Way. I would rather be angry than depressed, always. So if you're struggling with apathy and despair, Anger is your friend. So it's a higher frequency than powerlessness. So just get really mad. Like, go. When I used to live by the sea, I used to go and scream at the sea or scream in my car, or go to the forest. Find a way to do that primal screaming. It is so good for you. So good for you. So good for you. Just scare a couple of dog walkers. Like it'll be fun. Yeah. So feel your emotions. So what I find with apathy, like whenever I've done sessions on this kind of thing, procrastination, self-sabotage, which I often use parts work for, people who have you
There
We go.
can you guys hear
There we
me?
go. I've got a solid connection. Are you back, Jen? Anybody
Can you
else hear
hear
me?
me?
we're still here.
Hiya, Jane.
All right, lovely.
Yeah, we another one of them little Telegram server
Can you hear
gremlins
me?
has just
Yep.
done its thing. But we're back. It's solid now. We're good. We've got a good connection. Don't know what it was. Don't know why it does it. It's just one of them things. Unfortunately, they seem to be more frequent.
They might
So
not want us to be healing.
no, this is it. Jen, are you back with us? Have you got a connection there? No, I think she might have to leave and come back in again. Let me just message to see if it comes up. Jen, try leaving.
I think it's just her connection, isn't it? Because she was the one that was coming in and out. Everyone else is clear.
Yeah, it just sort of like all went sort of belly up then, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It was clear for a bit, and then it went iffy again. Iffy.
Is that a technical term?
Yeah, technical that was.
I didn't realise you were a geek.
I am, yeah. Just connected to one.
Let me just put myself and Jane are good and solid. Right, I've just messaged and let them know. I've let Jack Deep know and Jen. Let's hope they come back in. Otherwise, the next 20 minutes will just be me and thee.
Perfect.
Do you want to take her over from where she was talking?
Who will be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. This is the realm of Jen world. It's. I tend to find that a lot of the things that Jen talks about, whilst interesting and fascinating for me, I'm in a special place, I think, because it's like I've
You've
got to a
been
point
through that.
yeah, I've been through all that. I've explored it, grown through it,
Yeah.
and I'm in a place now for me personally where I'm just happy as a pig in muck.
Awesome.
And that's that's where everybody should be, and I understand and appreciate that not everybody is.
Yeah.
And the work that Jen's doing is brilliant, because what she's doing is she's helping people that are where I was 30 years ago, 20 years ago, But I did it by
Mm.
myself. There was nobody like Jen back then for me. I just
That's
worked
it.
it all out.
Yeah. I mean, I can relate on and off because we've done a lot of self-healing here. But as Jen was talking, I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar. Oh, that sounds familiar. So I said it'd be nice to just hook into those emotions and see if anything else is there, just so we can let go of.
Yeah.
Mm,
I'm just
fascinating.
messaging. No, Jackie can't get in. It's weird that. Oh, somebody else has just joined. Oh, Jackie's with us now. Yeah, and Litmus. And Jen's back.
Woo-hoo!
Jen, can you hear us?
Hello?
Can we hear you, Jen? Jackie, Litmus, can you hear Jen and myself?
Can you hear me?
People are
I hear
trying.
you there, Andy, but nothing from Jen. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you, lovely.
Yep, Jen can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Jen's gone off now. She might come back fresh.
You might have to do a part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to close this one and reopen another one, maybe. I had to log out entirely and come back in again.
Oh,
What, log out of Telegram?
Yeah.
All right. What, actually log out and then put your username and password in to come back in?
Oh, no. Just, close the app.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Turn it off and turn it back on again. That usually
Yeah.
the old one.
the IT crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Jen's back.
Jen's back, but the mic's unmuted, but we've got no audio.
Hello.
Yay!
Yay!
What happened? I fell down a
Jenny's
hole.
back. I don't
I'm
think
glad
it was
you
you,
retrieved
Jen. I think
yourself.
that was the Telegram servers. That I don't think that was your fault. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
It wasn't your end.
Yeah. Are you still recording?
Yeah. We filled the gap. Myself and Jane.
Did you do a bit of cabaret?
we were just singing your praises.
Oh, thank you. How kind. Oh. Right. So now I have to remember what
Where
I was
you
talking.
were.
Yeah. Does anyone
Or
remember what
there's about,
Jen,
obviously you don't have to finish dead on 6 o'clock.
you were just going on
So if
about
you want to keep going.
oh, sorry. Jen, you were just talking about the different emotions, and you mentioned about
Having a screen.
the Hicks, Abraham and Esther Hicks.
Oh, yeah.
And I wondered whether that was Sedona.
Ah. Right, yeah. I'm just like now I'm looking at my notes thinking that isn't even in my notes. I still don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, that's it. Yeah. And we're back in the room. So what I was getting to, so I just talked about anger is a really good idea because it's if you have apathy, which is basically powerlessness in disguise, getting mad and screaming at the sea or in your car or into the wind is a brilliant way to move a lot of energy. So I was talking about Abraham Hicks in a book that I've got, which I've forgotten the name of. There's a spectrum of emotion, and it's like a hierarchy in terms of frequency. High frequency at the top, like gratitude and joy and all of that, and then very low at the bottom, like shame and guilt and all of that. So obviously despair and kind of what we're looking at today is quite low down, but anger is actually surprisingly high up. So if you can go up to anger, then it's absolutely champion. It's like perfect. So a lot of people who have this problem, they have this numbness. So because one of the problems here is basically generally having emotion that's suppressed. Some people don't really know how to feel. They're so numb that they've checked out of that experience. So the way back in, there's always a way back, always. The way to get back into feeling again is to tune into sensation. So you could like set an alarm on your phone or something 3 times a day. When the alarm goes off, stop what you're doing and then just close your eyes and look at your body and pay attention what's happening. And then start to put words to that. Ooh, constricting or suffocating or heavy, buzzy, wavy, whatever that is. Start to put language to how you're feeling, but start with sensation without judging it, without thinking there's something wrong or there's something good or there's something bad. Just what's here, what is here. Start to name it. And then you can start to build up to, okay, so when I get constricting or that kind of emotion, that could feel, maybe that's anxiety. Then you can start to identify emotion from the sensation. And then you start to know yourself and you start to tune into yourself. And then obviously what you focus on will expand. And then before you know it, you've started to connect to yourself again when you thought that you'd lost yourself. So this is something you can chip away at, but there's always a way back. So once you're back in tune with your sensation, your emotion, then you can start taking action from this guidance system of your emotion. So you can keep a journal of emotion so that you can keep track of what you're doing. So if you're coming out of depression or despair and you're going in the direction of acting on emotion, it might feel wonky. It might feel a bit wonky for a while because you're tapping back into a system that is a natural one, but you've forgotten how to use it. So it might feel like learning to drive again. But one of the key things here is to just start to try new things. So recognize the stagnation, see what you're in. That's ultimately what healing is. Seeing what you're in, surfacing what you're in, actually going to the horror of what you're in and seeing it and going, oh no, right, I didn't know I had this going on. So as soon as you know that, it shifts. It shifts as soon as you start to know what you're in. Just like, when someone has an addiction and they can't heal it because they're not admitting that there's anything wrong, like you have to stand up and say, I'm an alcoholic before you can start to heal what the reasons for that are. So basically follow this process to tune back into yourself if you're finding that the numbness has become you almost. It's not permanent. It's never permanent. So one of the most important things as well is whatever you do, you have to prove to yourself that taking action feels better than not taking action. And sometimes that involves going through a bit of a pain wall, but it does make sense. And you can build up momentum pretty quickly if you can commit to yourself. And it's not easy to do coming out of apathy. But yeah, realizing that taking action feels better than not taking action. And actually, it's safer. It's safer. It brings improvement and change, and it changes how you feel generally for the better. So making any choice is good. And like lots of us get hung up on, what if I make the wrong choice? So what? Like make any choice, because making any choice or any change is going to change your frequency big time. And making any choice, even if it's the wrong one, is better. It's better than stagnation. It's better than a living death. So just remember that if you're in this, you are not a failure. It isn't you. It's temporary. You're not a bad person. You're not lazy. none of it defines you. It's not your fault. Like, lots of terrible things happen to all of us that we normalized because doing anything else was just too painful. So this is all temporary. So it involves shaking up your life, like shake your life up. Like if ever there was like a good time to do that, it's right now. You know, that all the forces of the universe are literally behind us to make positive change. Yeah, a key, I think, to everything, not just apathy, but a key to life. Notice positivity, gratitude every single day. Just notice the little things, the big things. Say them out loud. Keep a journal. Go to joy. Send love and joy to all beings. Like, get yourself excited and happy by just being silly and just building up some momentum, because monotony and routine and kind of like the getting stuck in that trap, that safe mode, or you know, the comfort zone or whatever, the comfort zone is extremely unsafe, in my opinion. It's extremely unsafe, and I know this, like I know this from experience in my life, you know, when I've not been taking action, when I've not been doing my thing, things come and get you. The universe drags you. If you don't get on board and walk straight into it, the universe is going to find a way to take you, and it doesn't always look good when you've left it to the universe to do that. So put yourself in situations that don't feel like apathy. Put yourself in situations that just feel different, you know, that don't feel like routine and monotony. They just feel different. Like, go to a different part of town to the one that you normally go to. Like, walk a different way to that train station that you always go to every morning. Turn right instead of left because you just want to see what's down there, you know. Yeah, like one of the most important things here is make it your mantra. It is safe for me to want. And it seems insane that we would have suppressed our wanting and our motivation, but we had to. We didn't have a choice, but we have to see that we did that. All you have to do is see that you did that. If you don't think you did that, go there anyway, because you might have suppressed that wanting about something specific. You might have suppressed that wanting in a really general way, and if you did, it's affecting every aspect of your life. So it is safe to want. And yeah, I think be patient with yourself. Like, we are in a pressure cooker right now, like with the energies and everything being done to us in a good way. You know, we're having what has been done to us unwound, but not always in ways that feel comfortable. So yeah, go to town with the gratitudes and the positive thinking, and that just know that there's always a way back. And I suggest imagination is the best way. If there's nothing around you to stimulate you, to kind of bring you back into pleasure or joy, then go to the past, you know, go back. What did I used to love? What good memories do I have that can help me climb the ladder of the range of human emotion? What can help me get up to anger and boredom? You know, what can help me get even beyond that to hope and, you know, well-being, you know, whatever the emotions are that are a bit higher up. So just know that if you are in this, just sitting in the shit of it, in the darkness of it, even for a short time, can change everything. It can change everything. Like, I'm still quite blown away that focusing on this has changed a relationship that I thought was doomed. You know, I'm so happy about that. Like, I'm quite emotional, to be honest. But it makes me so happy to be able to share that as well, because it's we don't always believe that this stuff works. Yeah, so just remember that you had no choice but to do things, to survive. You had to please your parents. You had to shut yourself down on some level. And then, back then, it saved you on some level. It supported you on some level. It kept you safe on some level to do that, to self-sacrifice, to shut yourself down. But now it's hurting you. So the body needs the old story to be told. And it can do that if you just go and meet it there. Just go and meet your body there. Meet your body in that frequency of despair if it's there. Let that story be told. Don't identify with it. It's just your body talking. And renegotiate your life basically, and just let the energy of your source come in. Because it's calling. It's always calling. So, yeah, I think I'm at the end. So hopefully that's made sense. Either I don't know what happened to the signal in the middle of that, but yeah, we got to the end. So does anybody want to join in or say anything?
That was,
Oh, go on, Jane.
thank you. That was amazing, Jen. Thank you so much. I was saying to Andy when you went out, I had done lots of work or on myself for healing. Listen to Abraham and Sedona and so many different modalities. And yet when you were talking about apathy, certain feelings came up and I thought, okay, I need to hook back into the emotion and see what comes up. But thank you so much for all your information, and thank you. Just massive thanks from me to you.
Oh, thank you. You're so very welcome. And I just love getting good feedback, from people who are doing that and trying that. And yeah, it makes me happy.
Mm.
And then it all went quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I was going to say is thank you very much, Jen. And again, another in-depth show that you've done, and another helpful sort of rung on the ladder for people that are desperate for this kind of information and for this way out.
Yeah, and I know, like, it makes me happy that people are listening, and I do sometimes get amazing messages from people who have done the thing that I said, which is lovely, and it's kind of like I just like doing the show. It's almost like in some ways, I don't care if anyone's listening because I'm just doing what I like doing. I like talking about all of this, and it lights me up, and it helps me know myself by expressing all of this as well. So yeah, like it's just win, 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 win. But if you are going to sit with this apathy, like just know that it is quite difficult energy, this. So just know that when you go into it. And the best time to sit with that is when you catch yourself at it. So when you've got that thing that you want to do, the project or something that you might be procrastinating about, or you feel like you've lost your passion about something that was you were there with it, you wanted it, and then suddenly it's like, where did that wanting go? I mean, it's possible that you've changed your boundaries, your preferences, or whatever, so that's a possibility. But if you notice that about yourself, go to start that project, and then if you get the apathy, then in the moment where you've got the raw sensations and emotions of that, that's when to dive into this, when it's active in your field. You can go there when you're not in that, by thinking about times you've been like that, or even thinking about current times that you're feeling like that, but you're not actually feeling like that in the moment. If you can real time sort of be in the moment in apathy and then dive into that, it will really serve you well. But it's so interesting how these things that I end up researching, they're always, it seems like I come across things by accident, but it's never an accident, is it? Like, we all know that synchronicity is the design of it all matches up perfectly. And often I think I've said this to you before, Andy. Because I think I'm quite connected to the collective, and I think sometimes my show is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Sometimes it kind of, I'm doing a show about a thing that I really needed to know about in a couple of weeks' time. Do you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I know what
quite
you
often
mean. Yeah.
I've covered something that then something comes, and then
In
I
a
know
few
all
weeks'
about that
time, you
thing.
think, I only just did that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's weird. Mm.
And one of the things as well is when anybody sort of mentions anger in a positive way, it always reminds me of the Public Image song Rise. So
Yeah,
I've posted that up in the if anybody wants to listen to a positive
yeah.
focus on anger being an energy, which it
Anger.
is. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, fill your boots.
Yeah, he knew what he was talking about, didn't he? Like all the
Absolutely.
way back then. Yeah, amazing.
I don't know. Does anybody else want to jump in with a few last before we close the show down? No, I think everyone's going to say what they're going to say, Jen. So all we want from yourself is a few final words just to wrap it up, and we can stop the recording and have a bit of an after show chat.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show, and thank you, Andy, for this platform, and thank you, everybody, for listening. If anybody is interested in self-healing, then come and have a look at my website. It's just JennyLuscombeEFT.co.uk, and I've got a few things going on, like we've got the group meeting this week on Wednesday at the Corn Market Pub in Liverpool, the Spiritual Awakening group. If anybody would like to come, we're starting at 7. And I'm also, although I haven't done many videos lately, I'm looking for people who would like to speak about their spiritual awakening experience on video on YouTube, because I want to normalize awakening, because it's happening. And anybody else who would like to do parts work on camera for the purposes of education. I've just posted one that I did with Jackie, and it took me ages to get around to posting it. We actually did it before Christmas. Was it before Christmas? Oh, I can't remember. But anyway, it's amazing. So if anybody wants to do that, then get in touch with me. Yeah, so basically, thank you, everybody, for listening. And I don't know what I'll be talking about next week, but I'll be back next week. So see you then. Thanks, everybody.
Bless your heart. Thank you, lovely. And thank you, Andy. Thank you so much for amazing teachings.